Okay, a couple other things here on slide 2. After you filled out the sign-in sheet, again, you can have access to the slide deck after today. You can add it to your drive or bookmark it. I do have an evaluation for you to fill out at the end as well. And then your ISB evaluation should come to you, I would say, the earliest Thursday. And it's going to come from the ROE 11. And just make sure you fill out the sign-in sheet here on slide 2 so you can get your PD hours. Again, I will put the workshop recording on the YouTube channel, and I can put a printable PDF file here if anybody would like to print it as well. Looking at seeing who's joining us today, a lot of you are familiar faces, so welcome back. If you want to put in chat, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do and maybe why you want to become Google certified, feel free to put that in the chat room there, because it's interesting to see why people do want to become Google certified. So, and then if you want to let us know if you taken the Google Level 1, any comments, pros or cons about that as well. A little bit about myself. My name is Lisa Schwartz, and this is my 22nd year in education. The first 19 years I did spend in the classroom teaching 6th through 9th grade, teaching computers and computer science for the majority of the time. And the last couple years here, I've been working with the Learning Technology Center as a regional ed tech coordinator. And one of my main job responsibilities is providing tech PD for the ROEs and school districts here in Central Illinois. If you haven't heard about the learning technology before, here is our mission on slide 4. And then on slide 5, I've got some links here to the LT website and other workshops that we're offering. Again, the workshop recordings will be on the YouTube channel here. And then we do have an LTC community. So if you have time and want to check those out, feel free to do so. Our agenda for today, I am going to go over an overview of the Level 2 training. This workshop is prepping you to take the Google Level 2 exam. Do you have to take it? No. I do have people who participate in this workshop that they just want to learn about the other tools that Google offers. As you can see here on slide 6, here's the apps that I want to get through today. I went ahead and gave you the slide deck for today and tomorrow. If time allows, I can start in on some of the other slides and talk about the apps that I have planned for tomorrow's agenda. So we'll see how we do today. And then here on slide 7, if you want to take a moment to set up for the day, if you want to get organized, if you haven't added this to your Google Drive or bookmarked it, please do so now. If you want to create a Google Doc to write notes on, you can. If not, don't panic. You don't have to do this. This is just another way to get you used to looking at a scenario or task here similar to the exam. So as you're doing that, I will see what everyone's writing here in chat, and then we will get started here and talk about the certification website here. So I'll give you a moment to set up if you would like. If you have questions, feel free to unmute right now or put them in chat as well. Yeah, if you need a copy of the slide deck, let me put the link there again. Pam, I'll put the link in the chat for you to access the slide deck, and then, yeah, the sign-in's there. If you can't access the sign-in sheet, let me know. I put that link there as well. Okay, so some people are saying that they've taken the Level 1 exam. Okay, you haven't gotten your results. Yeah, let me show you. I will tell you right now, I know some people just took the level 1 exam last week and there were issues. Google is supposed to be taking care of it. There's been issues for the last 2-3 months. I heard back from Google yesterday that they hopefully will have some answers to us today. So if that's the case, then I can hopefully share out what they have told us today that I can share out with you tomorrow. So let me go ahead and answer that question here as people are setting up for the day. So if you are wanting, if you take the exam and you're wanting to, let me close some of my tabs here. You want to go to your web assessor account. This is the account, if you did take the level 1 exam, this is where you signed in and bought the exam, whether you used a voucher from the LTC or you paid for it yourself. And I switched accounts because I did use my personal account to take the exam, and just so that it was always tied to my personal account. You don't have to, you can use your work account and that's fine. But I forget who asked that in chat. They took the level 1 exam. Okay, Angela asked, took the level 1 exam and hasn't received results. And that's what we're finding, that usually the results have been immediate. We don't know, or I don't know, if the problems are because Google has changed the testing platforms. They primarily use Criterion, but they added another company called ProctorU to proctor the exams as well, and they were going to change it where it couldn't be open book. You had a live person on the other side of the camera during the exam. You had to sign up for a specific time that you were going to take it. So I don't know with the web assessor if they, the Criterion company runs the web assessor, if they were unhappy and they aren't giving the web assessor account support like they used to. But Angela and anybody else, hopefully this will help. So after you've taken the exam, and if you haven't heard from them, if you go into either My Certifications or My Assessments, you should be able to see if you passed or failed. And right here, it just says when I launched it and the date completed. And then if I go to My Certifications, so if you want, log into your web assessor account, check those 2 tabs to see if you can find out your results. Last week when some educators took the exam, some people, they submitted it and then the circle kept going saying like it was submitting, and they never got confirmation that their exam was even submitted. So here's another place to check. So My Certifications or under My Assessments to check to see if you pass, because what it is, your level 1 and level 2 is good for 3 years. It tells you the expiration date here. After 3 years, they want you to take the exam again. It's not a full-blown exam. It has scenarios on it. I don't think it has multiple choice questions on it. So here, when I have to redo it in 2022, they could change it by then, but we'll see. So it shows the expiration date that I need to recertify for those. So that's under the web assessor account. Any questions about that? And Angela, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, so Melissa also said she didn't get an email either, so. Okay, so Angela, I'm not logging in with the temporary Gmail account. This is my account that I signed up, my Google account. This is my personal Google account that has my certification in it. And that's the one that I signed up to take the exam with. Yeah, your temporary account, as soon as you submit the test, you don't have access to the temporary account anymore. So try it. If you have questions, let us know. If you do put it in chat and I don't see it, feel free to unmute as well. So we'll go ahead. Any other questions about any issues you had with the level 1 certification? Okay. If you passed and you want to let us know, please put that in chat too, so we can celebrate that as well. So we'll go ahead here on slide 8, the Google level 2 training. So you guys, most of you have taken the level 1 coursework before, whether you've taken the exam or not. The Google level 2 training site, if I click on this link here, very similar to the level 1, except it does go more in depth. Or maybe not necessarily more in depth, but it does talk about some different units here, how to make the learning personalized, the effective use of digital tools, and then it does talk about other apps out there. Some of these apps with level 2 I didn't always use in the classroom, so it seemed a little bit more challenging because I had to learn about the tool along with the pedagogy that goes behind it. So do you have to go through this training here? Again, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can click on it. It tells you approximately how many minutes it's going to take. And then you can jump to the unit exams again. You don't have to go through all of the lessons. So right here with the introduction, it tells me what I'm going to learn. And then if I think I know about all of this stuff, then I can just jump to the unit review and then answer the questions from there. Again, do I have to do the unit review? I don't. This is just for your knowledge. And then you can see on the unit review, even if you got 3 out of 4 right or 2 out of 4 right, you can still go to the next unit. Can you still go back in and try answering the questions? You can, because as you can see this one that it says I got wrong, it says that there's more than one answer. So it's letting me click on that. Then I didn't even read it. I just click some answers here and I can go back and hit submit. And then when I do submit, then it can tell me, hey, whether I got it right or wrong, and then I can still go back in and edit it. So it shows that I'm still wrong. Okay, it shows that those 2 are wrong there. So then again, click off of those and then I can resubmit it if I want to see that perfect score there. But again, Google doesn't necessarily, they don't look at this to make sure that you've completed this before you take the exam. Now, Google has rolled out a new teacher center for you as well. If anybody's found that, you could use that. Since they've rolled it out, again, there's been some errors and glitches in that as well. So I'm going to stick with the teacher center that they've had out there and show you that here today. Then the Google level 2 registration site, same as the level 1. So again, if you forgot about it, don't panic. I put the link there. Hopefully you either used an extension or you wrote down your login and password somewhere for you then to go and access it. If not, you can try putting, forgot password and see if they'll send you a new password as well. And my computer, I don't know if it's my computer. There we go. So if you've already created this account from level 1, then you don't need to create this again. If you didn't take level 1, you can still take level 2. You don't have to have level 1 taken first. You don't have to have your level 1 passed first to take level 2. So realize that as well. What did you guys think about for some of you who have already gone through the level 2 training site, what did you think about that? Feel free, unmute. We've got a smaller group here, so if you feel comfortable unmuting and talking, you're more than welcome to. If you'd rather put it in chat, that is fine.
Hi, this is Lisa Carros. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah,
I did this 3 years ago when I actually got certified for level 1. And I found that a lot of the things that it was testing me on and it was training me for were things that it was phasing out. So I wasn't sure that it would even be available for the test and what they'd test me on. So I said, you know what, forget this, and didn't go for level 2 because the training did not match up with what was actually available in real time. And it didn't jibe. So I figured I'd wait. And now that my level 1 is about to expire, you know, a friend of mine told me she took your course already and told me about it, which is why I'm here. I figured I have a better shot of finding out what's actually on the test this way than through, through the online course that doesn't jibe with what actually is available, or at least that's what it was 3 years ago.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that sure does, Lisa. And I've heard from others too, that the Teacher Center, it doesn't match up totally with the exam. So that's why then we've got this course to help you guys out as well. So perfect. Well, we're glad you're here with us as well.
Now, while I'm talking, let me just ask one other thing, because my level 1 is about to expire. Do I have to renew that, or can I just get level 2 and leave it there? Do I have to have both?
Yeah, you don't have to have both, but my suggestion, since you've already got your level 1, it's easier to renew than redo your level 1 all over again. The renewal for your level 1 is usually just a scenario-based exam. It's not the whole full-blown 3-hour exam that you took first.
Oh, that makes a big difference. So, okay. Because I know when I first did it a few years ago, and I don't know if the test has changed, and I hope I'm not giving away any dark secrets, a lot of it was theory-based, and there didn't seem to be any true hard and fast right answer. It seemed to be what they felt was the right answer, which
Correct.
really intimidated me this time to go through it again.
Yeah, and it's still the same. One nice thing with the multiple choice questions, at the top of it, underneath the time, it does tell you select 2 of the 4 answers or select 3 of the 4 answers. So that kind of helps eliminate the right or wrong answers. But yeah, it's you're exactly right, Lisa, in what you said.
Okay, so again, 3 years is a long time, and it could have changed, which is why I really wasn't sure. Now, would you mind putting a link somewhere to that? You showed us how to find what certification we have. Would you mind putting a link to that, to finding that? Because I can't seem to find that on my own.
Yeah, the link is here on slide 8.
Oh, it's just the registration site?
It's the registration site. Well, after you register on Criterion, then you have your login and password, and then that's when you will put that in for your web assessor. So I can put that link there, but it's just the webassessor.com. And then that's where you log in.
Webassessor.com?
Yeah, but I can put that on that slide as well.
I'm assuming it's the same place as 3 years ago. I really don't know.
Yeah, it is. Now they are changing over to ProctorU. And so let's see. Let me just go ahead and copy and paste this. So yeah, put that here. It is kind of confusing because you don't go to it all the time. But after you register for the Criterion account, then it's the web assessor. See if that helps, and if not, Lisa, let us know and we can maybe troubleshoot some more.
I'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. So Constanza, hello, you need the link here. Okay. All right, so the link is in the slide or in the chat again here. So again, here on slide 9, this does talk about the advanced training for level 2, kind of what I just showed you. You don't have to go through it. I personally went through it just so that I could learn as much as I could. Sometimes I have FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So I didn't want to miss out on anything. And again, does it take 10 hours? it depends on your knowledge and level of the Google tools out there. Here on slide 10, I've got, so the G Suite app exam scenarios, a couple people who have taken the test. I've seen this shared out on the internet. So I originally didn't share information like this because I thought maybe this went against Google's non-disclosure agreement. But I've seen other Google trainers share this out. So I thought, you know what, if they're sharing it, I'll share it until they tell us not to. But it's not, we're not giving you any information rather than just showing you that the difference between two people's tests and how many questions that they had or scenarios for the different apps here. So even though this says Hangouts Meet, Google used to call it Hangouts Meet. It's just called Google Meet now. So, whoops, clicked on. So that's a little bit different, but I think about everything else is the same here. So feel free to reference that as you're prepping for your exam as well. Again, could be various reasons. I didn't get time to read all of the comments in chat about becoming Google certified. Again, my personal journey was I wanted to learn as much as I could to help my students in the classroom. And it was a challenge for me. We were a Microsoft school, and I wanted to learn about Google and see what I could do and the differences between Google and Microsoft. So the kids, my students, got to see me as a learner as well. But when I did an in-person workshop last summer, during that face-to-face workshop, one teacher had to leave for an interview, and then she came back later that afternoon. And so in the interview, the administrators had asked her about her journey with Google, if she used Google at her previous school, and if she was Google certified, and she was able to answer, no, she wasn't Google certified, but she was actually taking the course to help her get Google certified. So they liked that answer. She ended up getting the job. So I don't know if it was based off of that answer or not, but again, it depends on the administrators who are asking the questions, their knowledge about the Google certification. Again, I will say this while I'm thinking of it. With the Google certification, you know, some of you who have recently taken it, if you want to say what your experience was, but I would hold off and not take it at least today. And hopefully we can get some more solid answers tomorrow, but we're hoping Google on their end will clean up whether this web assessor or ProctorU exam site, that people don't have the issues like they did. Again, last week, working with some teachers, and some of them were taking it, and the issues that they were having, I felt bad for them. So again, feel free to put in chat if you had issues or how you resolved them. So again, feel free in chat, put what else, if you didn't already do that, about, you know, of why you want to become Google certified. So in chat here, okay, so Heather says, yeah, the toggling was stressful. Yeah, so if you can have two monitors to work back and forth on, that would be great. And then Kaylin's asking, is a test a 3-hour test? You do have 3 hours to take it. Again, some people may not need that long. Some people may need longer, but you only have 3 hours to take it in. And then, okay, so I'm reading chat again here. How many trainings are there to become a trainer? To become a trainer, good question. There's not as much in the, is there, you know what? Good question. I can't remember. I know I've got a workshop on that as well. So if there's people who want to go into to be a trainer, I did one earlier during remote learning, but I don't think I recorded it. So the certified trainer, it's not like the level 1 and level 2. What you have to do here Do you see the certified trainer? So I'm in the certification. Here's the level 1 and level 2. Level 2 I showed you earlier. Right underneath is the trainer part. You've got to answer some questions. You've got to have, you've got to complete an application here as well. So feel free to take a look at that. And then again, if there's interest, if you guys want to become trainers, I can probably maybe towards the end of August, September, do another trainer workshop online as well. But in your evaluation today, you might want to just add that there so everyone who looks at those evaluations can see that. All right, so we will go ahead and get started here on slide 12. I've got Google Sites here. So with the level 1, a lot of you learned about Google Sites, whether you knew about it for level 1 or not. Creating a Google site, adding pages, adding text, links. So to get to sites, most of you already know how to do that. You can go to sites.new if you want. You can come over here to the waffle and go to sites here as well. If I skip over something I have on a slide deck or on one of the slides here, let me know. I can go over it. I'm not going to go over everything that you see here unless if you need it, because I'm assuming and that most of you have taken the level 1 or have taken the workshop or prepped for it, so that you might already know this. So just a quick overview here on sites. They haven't, they still take you to the classic sites here. If you go here to create or go to new Google Sites, it takes you to the new Google Sites. I would think that they're going to be transitioning over to this sooner than later, because that old, what it brings you to, that was their old platform, and this is looking more like what we're used to with the other Google tools. So to start a new site, all you have to do is come up here to hit the plus sign and then start creating it. You've got templates here. If for some reason you don't see templates here, your Google admin, whoever's in charge of your Google domain, has control over that, whether you can see the templates or not. So if that's something that you want to see, make sure have a conversation with them, let them know why. Sometimes the Google admin doesn't know everything to push out or to check mark that for you to have availability for too. So it's just sometimes just having a conversation with them. So if you want to, if you already know about Google Sites, I've got a challenge here on slide 13. And what we're going to do today is our Google site is kind of going to be like a portfolio. It's going to be where you're going to put your work that you're going to work on throughout this workshop here. And then on the Google site, have a page where you introduce yourself and put an interesting fact, and then insert a photo. Again, you can take a selfie, do any kind of image, but then these challenges that I have here are kind of set up similar to what the exam is going to ask of you. Is it going to be this exact same one? No, but it might have you go and search for, let's say, digital citizenship. Digital citizenship is always my go-to to use for an example. So I'll be quiet for a minute here. I'll let you go through this challenge, and then feel free to unmute yourself if you do want me to show you some things on Google Sites, or put it in chat. I can read that as well. Okay. So Lisa in chat put, is it easier to go through Drive to open up a Google site? Yeah, that's another way you can. So that's one thing that's so great about the Google tools. There are multiple ways to do the same thing. So Lisa, do you want to talk about how you go to Google Sites from Google Drive?
Sure. I'm assuming most people who've been through level 1 or used this for school would know this already. What I like best about going through Google Drive for essentially everything is it automatically organizes things for me. So if I start out with my Google certification training or level 2 workshop folder, once I'm within that folder, I either right click or click on new and then go to more, and it'll give me, one of the options is Google Sites. You can also get to Google Forms, Google Drawings, pretty much anything that you can do in Google, you can access through here. And again, the reason I like it better is you're automatically organizing it. You don't have to go back later and put it into an organization system. You're starting out by where you want it to be. It just makes life a lot easier later to find it again. Unless you're like me and put things where it's obvious to you today, and then tomorrow you forget what the heck you were thinking about yesterday.
But hey, Lisa, as you know, that your Google Drive can be a hot mess, and you can come up here and search and find it.
Right, no, yeah.
So again, it allows for differentiation. So Lisa, thanks for sharing that. So what she does, she already goes to the folder she's created and then goes to new and then goes to the app that she wants to create. And so that it's already on the back end going to be added into her folder there. She doesn't have to do that. Perfectly fine. Thanks for sharing that, Lisa. So what I find is you just, whatever way you have learned to go about going to opening up a new Google site or a Google Doc. Sometimes you're creatures of habit, but just realize there's multiple ways to do it. Our brains aren't all alike, so. Is Christina on? Did you guys have any trouble logging in today to the Zoom link? Okay, perfect, thank you. I was just checking email and someone said they couldn't get in. So we'll see if they can get in here. Okay, how are we doing on the Google site? If you think back to your level 1 and when you first, for some of you, if you were first introduced to a Google site back then, are you surprised at what you've learned? Do you realize that the more you use it, the more you'll know how to use it and pros and cons? A couple things here on the Google site I want to share with you here is some people wanted to know how to, you know, if you share a Google slide deck here, that with the slide deck, when you're in preview mode, they can just hit this arrow here to interact with that slide deck. So if I'm in the preview mode on a Google site, then they can expand this if they want and put this in a new tab. If not, they can interact with the slide deck right from the Google, from you inserting the Google slide deck right here. Another thing people have asked, can you insert a playlist? So you can. So right here is a playlist. How do I know it's a playlist? If you're familiar with using YouTube, you've got from the level 1 workshop, you had to know about playlist and that icon of the playlist there. And then right underneath it, it says it's one of 26 videos in that playlist. So again, you can, if you want to share out information to students or parents using your Google site, you can put playlist in there as well. Yep, Gabe, that's fine. I think other people are logged, I'm reading in chat, that's okay that you're logged on to both. Yeah, if you do have 2 devices, I do suggest, so you can have one monitor with my screen share and then the other monitor with you being able to get into the tools. You could also do exit full screen. So if you only have one device, you can split your screen then with 2 windows so that you can have my screen share in one window and then the other tools in the other window. Another thing, I don't know if you've played around with Google Sites much, but there's an image carousel here. And anybody use image carousel in the classroom? And if so, how did you use that if you've used Google Sites before? With the image carousel here, it lets you, and feel free if anybody wanted to unmute to talk as well, it lets you put in several images here, and then the students or whoever you share the site with can go through that image carousel to see all of the different pictures there. So kind of if you've used Instagram, kind of like on Instagram, you have one picture on you know, on top, and then you can swipe to see the other images there. So again, if students are using this as a portfolio and they're taking images of their work, you don't have to have the images, you know, take up all of their page. They could use the image carousel to put several images there as well. All right. So later on, I'll have you share your Google site just within our group here. So don't panic. You don't have to make it look pretty. Just like on the exam, when you're taking the level 2 exam, a computer grades it. There's an algorithm that grades it so that you don't have to make your Google site pretty. Just follow step-by-step instructions. So if I haven't given you enough time with that, feel free to continue working on that. I won't have you turn it in until I'll have you share it on a Google Doc here. Or maybe we can share it out through a Google site. We'll see tomorrow. Here with Google Slides, same thing. So how do you get to Google Slides? Again, here's some ways. And I also put shortcuts here. So anytime you put in docs.new, slides.new, that will take you right to a new slide deck. But found out that if you type in whether it's a slide with an S or no S, it gets the same thing. If you type in deck.new or presentation.new, same thing. If you know of other tricks out there, feel free to put it in chat or unmute and let us know, and I can add it here as well. So then once you go into Google Slides, so right now we are in the Google Slides, and you can format options with images. So when you put images in here, so right here I've got an image here. If I click on the image, I have some other features up here. If I click off of the image, I've got different options up here based on what I'm clicked on. So if I click on this image right here, I have format options here. So format options are some other options I can do. Sometimes if you want an image but you don't want it to be so bright, you can put a transparency on it. So here's the image of the slide icon, and if I just change the transparency on it, I still have it. We know the icon, but it's not as bright on the page. So I can do transparency, I could do brightness, contrast, but the point is just make sure that you know about these options over here. And again, you will need to be clicked on that image to get that option, because here's the options. When I'm clicked on a text box, I've got some format options for a text box. They are different than they are for images. Another thing with images, you can, whoops, sorry, my mouse is going crazy. Okay. With images, you can mask images, you can add a border. So again, here's some other tools up here that if we don't use slides that often, we might not be aware of. And right here, you can change the images to a shape. You can, as you can see, click on different things to see if you want it to turn it to a shape. And that's under mask images. And you've got all of these different choices here as well. And then another thing you can do, you can add borders. And then when you add a border to an image or a text box, whatever it may be, you can choose the color you want. You can even choose I chose the border color, but then you can even choose the width of it. And that, I say width, the border weight. So if I wanted a thicker line, I would do the higher the number. And that selected my slide. There we go. So I've got to make sure I'm clicked on the image if I want to change the border weight of it. But as you can see, if I'm just on the slide, I can add a border weight to my slide as well. Under format options, what are some things that you use if you use slides with your students or parents? Anything that really stands out or a tool that you like?
I like that you can put an image as a background, like if you want to make a worksheet, you can take a picture of like a PDF of a worksheet and you can set it as the background on the slide and then put text boxes on top of that, and it's kind of an interactive worksheet for your kiddos. So
I like that.
That was helpful during remote learning.
Oh, I bet.
And then the students can't shift the worksheet around, like the worksheet stays because it's set as the background.
Yes, I like that. Thanks for sharing that. There is, I don't think I've included it on here, but, or maybe I did. No, I think I included it on level 1. If you have never visited, again, you have all of these resources here and these slide decks, and it's until someone points some of them out to you or you think you'll go back to it later, you may forget. But here on slidesmania.com, this is an awesome website. Paula creates these. She's actually not in education. She's got different slides out there. And what's awesome about it with these templates, they are all free. So let me tell you this, if you use Teachers Pay Teachers and you see someone use one of her slide decks that she's provided for free, but they just put their maybe Bitmoji in there and they're charging for it, let her know or let me know, and we can let Paula know, because we don't want her to stop creating these. So if you've never looked at slidesmania.com, I think it's worth that. Especially you can look at it today if I'm going over something that you already know how to do, that, you know, if you look at these templates here, she does create the template for Google Slides or PowerPoint, and you can, it's just ready to go that you can start using it. So you just use it in Google Slides and you've got the template there that you can use with your students. So this saves you time from creating it, or maybe if you didn't think you had the creativity in you, you're like, oh wow, I can use this, and maybe it will spark some, you know, spark you to create something in the future. So has anybody used Slides Mania before? So if not, it's worth a try. Worth, I think, your time if you can incorporate this with your classroom here. Just again, it's got the visual that most of us need to help us learn. Okay, so here in Slides, I want to talk about some other things. So inserting a video. If you insert a YouTube video here, to insert a YouTube video, all you have to do is come up here and hit insert and go to video. What's nice about inserting videos here within Google Slides is it doesn't play other videos when it ends, and it doesn't play ads in the video when you put it in Google Slides. So when I click on this video here, I also have format options for my video. So again, when I click on the video, if the format options don't come up over here on the right-hand side, if you go over here to format options here, then it'll come up. What I like about the video in Slides is that you can have it start at a specific time. So if I want it to start at, let's say, 30 seconds, I can have it start at 30 seconds, and you see it starts at the 30-second mark. It just shows me right there visually. I can have it end at a certain time. So I can have it autoplay when presenting. I could have it mute audio. So I have some other choices here for the video playback. Now, a new thing, believe it or not, you know, I've been using Microsoft PowerPoint for 20 plus years. And I can always remember having audio to add to a Microsoft PowerPoint. Audio was just added here, I want to say off and on for the last year. It's pushed out there now for everyone to use. In order to use the audio, the file must be in your drive. And then again, you have format options. I put on here a couple websites out there that you can get audio from. There's many out there if you want to drop that in chat of the other websites out there that you use, feel free to do that. But YouTube Audio Library. Has anyone used the YouTube Audio Library, or no? Or did you know that YouTube had an audio library? So I've got a link there that you can take you to the audio library. And again, what's nice about this, you do have the attribution rights here. If you look here, here's the tracks, and then if you keep going over, you can filter it by genre, by mood, instrument, duration, or even the attribution rights. So this allows you to, you know, filter it out of what you may need. So once I have it, then if I download it, let me try to download, let me go to duration and download one that's less than 30 seconds long. And then I'll just go ahead and do this one and hit download. Then to add this to my Google Drive, all I have to do then is go up here to my Google Drive. I do have a folder for my audio files. And like Lisa said earlier, what did I name that? Oh, I can't remember. I don't see my... I'll put it, maybe I put it in my Google Workshop material. So once that file is downloaded, I can just drag and drop it up here to my Google, or to my folder that I want it in. So I'll put it in that folder. So then it's in my drive, and then I can go back to my slide deck and I can then add the sound. So I would just go up here to insert, go to audio, and then I can add my audio from my drive. So here's the different sound clips that I have. And then all I have to do is click on what I want and then hit select. And then again, with your audio files that you have here, shows you how long they are. If you click on one of them, again, you have format options that come up over here. You can have it start playing on click. You can have it start playing automatically. You can loop the audio. So again, take a look at these format options. As you guys know, with the exams, that if you have taken the Google exam before, the level 1, that sometimes in their directions, they're specific on you formatting different things just right. So sometimes the Google exam is about you following directions too. So take a look at that. And then just looking in chat here, talking about the copyright issues. Yeah, if you, that's what I like about these 2 websites I have out there about the attribution rights. If you look at it, you have the right to use it. You'll have to look at it to see if it's for, if you're just reusing it for the classroom, or if it's using it, if you're pushing it out there, putting it on something that you're trying to sell. So double check on that. But yeah, Mike's correct that that you can use this. And then Mike, do you want to talk a minute about the sound effects tab? Have you used that before? I see that you put it in chat.
Yeah, I've used it before. Sometimes this pandemic, I've been making like home videos with my kids, and I've been using Audio Library a lot, for just background music. But there's quite a bit of sound effects in there as well that, kind of the same deal. It's you can't break them down by all the specifics as you can from the free music. But for Google Slides, it's probably a little more useful because sound effects tend to be a little shorter, and you can control the wipes in and out of, however you wanted to jazz up your slideshow with sound effects.
Yeah, because sometimes, well, if you're used to using Microsoft PowerPoint, sound effects were kind of built in. With Slides, they didn't have this, so it's nice that you can come over here to Audio Library. Yeah. Perfect. So what kind of, you said you've been making videos with your kids and putting sound effects in them. Have you been posting it out on social media?
Yeah, I started a YouTube channel just messing around. I've been doing photography for about 8 years, and so I've got all the equipment and we've just been playing. So I did a video. My son got a new Nerf gun, so I spliced in a bunch of Hollywood explosion scenes. So he'd jump out from behind a tree and shoot his gun, and then he blows up a building. He jumps off the porch and blows up a ship, and he's 6, so he thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, I bet.
And then, just other little things like that. I did a birthday video with a Mario theme this week, so I green screened him into Super Mario Brothers, and he's running around and jumping and having a good old time.
Oh, wow. If you want to put your YouTube channel link in the chat, feel free to do
Okay.
so as well.
All right, I could do that.
Yeah. And then, so do you incorporate any of that in your classroom or in your school?
Yeah, I have in the past. It's kind of with the pandemic, my position's transitioned. I have gone from a classroom teacher for 17 years, 6 through 12, wherever they need me, to now I'm the district's technology coordinator. So I'll be in a lot more classrooms doing things like this. And so that's one of the fun things that I'm wanting to integrate is taking our web presence to a more, video style as opposed to just images and pictures all the time. And so I worked with Donors Choose and, got a grant for some money to do different technology integration and green screen. We're going to put in a green screen studio and and kind of see where that goes. So I'm excited, but again, we've got to figure out if we're even going to go back to school first. So
Yeah.
one step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. But for future, whether it's this year or next year, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm even, regardless of where we start, my motivation for the Google training was for probably like a lot of us, our district has been using Google for a long time, but it's just sat there. Everyone has just kind of cherry picked the things they need, and they don't realize and understand the breadth of it. So the superintendent actually had me the last couple of weeks do some in-person training of what I learned from level 1, and granted it doesn't help them in terms of a tester, but none of them are interested in that anyway. But just showing them things like the Explore panel in Google Docs and how to do different things here and there. The worksheet thing that the lady had mentioned earlier on a Google slide, we touched on that, and just to show them if we start from home, at least we can all take the same approach with Google Meets and Google Classroom, and really taking a common approach as opposed to one teacher using Zoom and one teacher using Google Meet and one teacher doing Facebook groups and this teacher, over here trying to use Skype. And so trying to better prepare ourselves moving forward.
Well, perfect. Well, glad that they've got you. But it's just like anything, even that slides mania, we have all of this information to us. When we think we need to know it, that's when we learn it, because I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I'm overwhelmed with everything that's out there that I can use and do. And it's, when I need to know it or talk about it, I go and learn it. And Mike, it sounds like you're big in YouTube. Do you know what the stats are? How many YouTube videos are played every day?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I quit counting.
Yeah, so have I. And if anybody wants to Google that to see, it's interesting. I don't have it memorized. And do you see, like, we don't have to have things memorized anymore because we can go and look it up. So I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. I'm sure my 2 kids are responsible for 2/3 of the videos watched on YouTube since March.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So going back to that audio library, thank you, Mike, for sharing everything that you're doing. But if you're at your YouTube channel here, the audio library is right here. And I had the link there in the slide deck as well. But then it talks about the YouTube audio library, so you can browse and download free music for your project. Okay. Now there are, with this, let me see. As long as you're not using it to sell it or to make money off of it. So I was trying to see if they went ahead and went more into those attribution rights, and they may, but that's something you can look at. But again, majority of the teachers are just using this for their students in their classroom, or like Mike, making videos with your kids at home during this pandemic here. Anybody else want to talk about adding sound to your slides here? So I do want to try to have this interactive as much as we can as well, because you guys are a wealth of knowledge. A lot of you are using the Google tools, whether with your students, teaching other teachers. So I don't want everyone just hearing what I have to say. I love to collaborate and hear from you as well. And I hope you guys are excited to learn from others that are in this workshop today. So that was the main kind of purpose of keeping it smaller numbers, so that people maybe felt a little bit more comfortable with sharing. Another thing with Google Slides, I've got the presentation mode. Usually in these workshops, I haven't been in presentation mode because I get out of the slide deck and go to other apps. But when you are presenting, all you have to do is come up here and start your presentation. And just know in the presentation mode, you've got this toolbar of other options here. This is where you can have closed captions. So again, whether it's students sharing or you talking and sharing your slide deck, you can have your closed captioning turned on. It can be at the top of the page, it could be at the bottom, and then text size. So small, medium, large, you've got as well. So you've got some options there. You just have to make sure your microphone is turned on for this to work. Now, some people were saying that they wanted this to record and keep on the slide deck after the fact. And you could use any of the screencasting software out there to record, and so that it would show your closed captioning at the bottom. To turn that off, all you have to do is click on it and it turns off. So closed captioning, you've got the pointer, you've got Q&A. I know some people are using other apps out there to integrate with Google Slides. You might be using Pear Deck, or I was thinking there was another one, but it's not coming to me. Again, feel free to unmute and talk about it if you're using it another way, or put it in the chat. Another thing here I've got is some add-ons that you can use. I know sometimes school districts don't allow teachers to download add-ons. So my suggestion, try out these add-ons from your personal account. But what I've noticed about a lot of these add-ons with Google Slides, there's a free version and a paid version. So the Photos to Slides add-on, I like that because it can take your photos that you have in Google Photos and create a slideshow. So during this pandemic, a lot of school districts were taking photos of their graduating seniors, incorporating them. They had them in photos. They just used the add-on Photos to Slides, and it created a slideshow of the graduating seniors. Each photo is on a new slide, and again, you can try it out for free. I think you have the free version. You have so many photos. I don't know if it was up to 50 you could have. If you had more than 50, you would have to have the paid subscription. So check it out to see the difference in that, if that's something that interests you. And then also Unsplash Images is another place that you can get free images. Again, I believe this is free. I don't know if there's a paid version of this, but I just put free on there. So again, check it out. How do you know about these add-ons? If you come up here to add-ons and get add-ons, again, if you've got time on your hands or you want to, learn about more, you can see some of the different add-ons that are tied in here with Google Slides. Okay, Nearpod was the other add-on I was talking about. So again, sometimes if you haven't seen it demonstrated, or don't know that it's out there, you don't know about it. So feel free, put it in chat, or you can unmute to talk about some add-ons that you use a lot. All right, so here on slide 18, I've got a Google Slide challenge that I just wanted you to choose an image and play around with the format options. So if you want to create a slide deck here, and do that. I'll give you a few minutes. If you don't need to do that, we will take a quick break. We'll do about a 5-minute break. And again, some of you can take a break whenever. But I know some people don't want to miss out. So we'll do a 5-minute break. In that break, you can do this challenge if you want, or you can go ahead and look at the slide deck to learn about some of the other apps that we're going to talk about today. And feel free if you want to ask questions now, or gives you time to maybe get caught up in chat as well. So what time is it here? So at 10:16, we will start in on slide 19 then. Now, Christy, I see you. I'm glad you were able to join us. Do you need the slide deck link?
Yes, please.
Okay. And then on the slide deck, on slide 2, there's a sign-in sheet as well. So even though you join late, make sure you just fill out the sign-in sheet as well, because it wasn't your fault. So we're glad you were able to get in. So.
Lisa, I don't know if you can hear me. My Zoom is usually pretty slow. I just have a quick question. I took a Bitmoji Slides training to make my own Bitmoji classroom.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was a way to just take one of those slides and put it on my Google Classroom somehow, so that it's just a shortcut to all the things that I've got on that slide.
Yeah, do you want to put it in the your image of the classroom, or you want it to have it so that they can click on it?
Yeah, I didn't know if there was some way. I follow that page on Facebook, that Bitmoji for Educators. I just haven't gone through it because there's so many posts. But I've created 2 slides in one presentation, so they're both in the same file. I did one for ELA and one for math, and I have a ELA Google Classroom and a math Google Classroom, and I just wondered if there was some way to put each of those slides in the corresponding classroom so that the kids could just click on that to get to my Freckle link and Cool Math Games link. I just didn't know if you knew a quick, easy way, if this would be a quick or a long discussion.
Well, I think it could be a quick discussion. I sat down here, so I don't know if I can see that. The way I'm thinking is create a topic in your classwork tab and
Okay.
Have it tied to that. So if you put Bitmoji Classroom, whatever, so then they know that all they have to do is go and click on that topic to access that.
Okay.
But I'm so glad you asked this question. We can ask the group what, if anybody's still on right now listening, what they would suggest.
I didn't know if I were to link it, is it going to take them to the whole presentation or just that slide? I don't want my math kids to have access to my ELA slide necessarily, because I tried to create a link to that slide, but when I previewed it and clicked on the link, it took them to the whole presentation, not just that one individual slide.
So you could pull out that one individual slide and make it a new file all by itself.
Okay,
And you can-
that was going to be my next step. I just didn't know if there was a way to embed it.
Good question. So if you're just joining us, Molly's asked, she's got a Bitmoji slide deck that she created, and she wants to know everyone's opinion on what's the best way to incorporate that in Google Classroom. I had said maybe off on the side, create a topic, whether it's resources or whatever it may be, that they could then access that. I'm thinking of another way, but we'll see if anybody else wants to give their 2 cents on that question. I know Angie Mann is on, and she has created some Bitmoji slides out there. Do you share them out to your students? She may still be away right now, but. Oh, there's Angie.
Hey, no,
Did you
I
hear
have-
Molly's question?
well, I caught part of it. I have not used it since we haven't been back in the classroom, and I started getting into building them about the time that we stopped doing the remote learning. So I have not been able to utilize it yet. The only thing I've done with my Bitmoji is put it in the banner of my classroom. So I've built the banner, and it's not animated, and it doesn't do anything, but it's still kind of cute.
So you've just got it as a picture at the top of your Google Classroom.
Right.
Okay.
But I built mine specific, like you said, I have a math class where it has links embedded in it. The links don't work in the banner, but the links are there so that I can utilize it in the future. And then I have a different one for like language arts. I think I built one for science. I haven't gone and explored any more past that though.
Okay.
And like you, I joined the Bitmoji craze for educators, and there were like 700 respondents per day, and it was just
crazy. There's a few of them I've seen that I've like saved for later, but I haven't had the time to go back and look at them yet.
Yeah.
And yes, that's what we discussed, is just making a new presentation, so it's the only slide in the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the input.
Yeah, great. And if people have more questions like that, feel free to ask. And Molly, I'm glad you brought that up, that, yeah, more than ever right now, those groups out there to connect us and to help us answer those questions. So if you have time, Molly, throw it out there in that Facebook group and see what they say. And if you do find out an answer and you really like the idea, feel free to share that with me too, because I like to see how other people use that. And that's what's, so great. This is another chance to collaborate, because I know a lot of the professionals out there outside of education had been pushing Twitter, but I still find myself, I started using Twitter a lot more now, but I still find myself going back to Facebook, and I'm glad to see these Facebook groups kicking off there to help us, because there's even a Facebook group out there for the Google certification test as well. So you could join and get maybe some of your questions answered as well. Okay, couple things in chat here that I'm seeing. Again, thank you for helping out in chat. And some people are saying that they're having trouble with their internet issues. That's fine. It's part of life. But I know it's frustrating as well. There was a question here I saw that, Lisa asked about the Q&A part and slides. Is it on the test? I don't think you have to do a scenario or anything with it. I just wanted to bring your attention to it as well. Another question Angela asked, how do you access the slide add-ons? Let me go ahead and share my screen here, and I can show you again. So to access the slide add-ons, if I'm in Google Slides, do you see this add-ons up there? You can go to add-ons. If for some reason you don't see add-ons, maybe go to your personal account and see if you see add-ons. But I think no matter what, you should see the tab add-ons. It's just you might not be able to add add-ons on a school account. So again, there's some free ones out there. There's some that have a free version and a paid version. So if you see some of the other add-ons I have here, I've got Magic Rainbow Unicorn Slides that just turns your slide font color into a rainbow. Insert icons for slides, icons by noun project. So again, if you want to write these down, or it'll be on the video as well. But anybody want to talk about any add-ons you use or about any of these add-ons right here that I have got? Okay. So yeah, Angela, go and maybe try your personal account if you don't see the add-ons there. Mike, I'm seeing you're trying to answer someone's question. I didn't see the question. Were you able to answer it, or did you get them taken care of? Okay. Oh, and maybe you were answering the question that Molly was talking about. Okay, perfect. So the icon project, if you haven't explored that, there is a website for it as well, but there's an add-on here within the Google slide deck that you have icons. So this is the free version. If you look down here, you can pay $39.99 for a yearly subscription. It unlocks all of the icons that they have. So again, as you can see, I'm using the free version. So I think it just depends on your use of why you might want it and why you might want to pay the $40 there. Okay, so moving on then. So what we've talked about so far this morning is Google Sites and Google Slides. Hopefully you picked up something new, whether it was from the slide deck or from someone sharing in chat. And again, feel free to put it in chat if you're having issues out there. Let us know. If I can't help you, someone else can help as well. YouTube, I will tell you again, I think I say this in level 1. With the YouTube, this is the app that most teachers are the most nervous or anxious about because they don't use it as much. Now, sounds like if you were Mike, though, he's been using it all the time during this pandemic. So I might, if he wants to jump in and share some things about YouTube, that he can. I don't know if he put down, shared with us his link for his YouTube channel. If you want, I can even put it here on the slide deck as well. So with YouTube, if you have never created your channel, you will need to do that first. And then you can add cards to your YouTube videos. It's similar to adding questions or polls within the video so that they can interact with them. Your video will need to be at least 25 seconds long in order to add cards. YouTube calls them cards, but it's just, again, you can add questions or polls to that and they pop up. You can even add links to other videos that you want them to look at. Sometimes you will see some famous YouTubers out there who are making money from advertisers will throw in cards for their advertisements throughout their YouTube video that you're watching. I also shared a link here, some YouTube channels out there for educators that Casey Bell had curated. So again, could I curate. Could I have curated that? I could have, but again, if it's out there and they're allowing us to use it and share it out, whether it's in your classroom or with other teachers, that's a great thing to do, because again, if you're like me, we just run out of time to do everything. You know, Angie was talking about here, she's created some Bitmoji classrooms, and she hasn't done anything more with it yet because, you know, don't have remote learning right now, and hopefully she's enjoying her summer like the rest of you. So take a look at that. And then if I go into my YouTube channel, I will show you how we'll go ahead and look at a card. I don't know if I play, so here I put a video in here. And again, I can go to format options to bring up how I want it to play. You can play it without being in presentation mode, but I'll go ahead and switch to presentation mode and play it. I don't think I have it playing right away. Let's see. That's my youngest son there, and these are cousins. This was the day after Thanksgiving. They went out shopping early, so then they decided to sing a song there in the mall with everyone. But the reason I was trying to play this, I think I had a card in here to show you. And I might be making a liar out of myself. Okay, I guess I didn't, or I copied the wrong link. So that's fine. We'll go back over to my YouTube channel here and look at what I can do with the card. So when I've got a video here, to upload a video, first off, you have to make sure when you go to your Google account, you've got your channel. If not, it says, Google changed the name. I think, does it say activate your channel or create a channel? Can anybody see on their YouTube? Okay, it says create. So you will need to create your channel here to access, to uploading videos. And once you create your channel, then all you have to do is click on this video camera with the plus sign. So remember, in Google, anywhere there's a plus sign, that means you can create or add. And this is where you upload a video. And then you can upload a video, whether it's a screencast or any videos that you have up there. If it's a recording, you can just drag and drop it, or you can go and select file. So if I have it down here, I can just drag and drop it up here and add it. This isn't a video, so it won't work. Or I can go to select files and go and select my files that I have, whether it's from my desktop documents or whether it's downloads, wherever it's at, go and select it. I guess I've just gotten used to drag and dropping it over here, but again, you do what you know how to. Then once you upload it, I'm not going to upload a video right now because I think it'll slow my internet connection down. Then what I can do, so this one, Introduction to Seesaw, I just have it as a draft. If I go in here and edit draft, so as soon as you start uploading a video, you need to put a title on it. You can tell your viewers about your video if you want. You can put a thumbnail. So you can put an image here of what you want them to see when they first see the video on your YouTube channel. And then you can put a playlist, put it under a playlist. And then here, again, with the internet policy for kids, they're very strict whether it's made for kids or not made for kids. So you will need to mark that. And based off of what you mark here, you know, you'll have some other questions about what's content is made for kids here. You've got some more options here as well. I haven't done anything where, you know, I haven't gotten into YouTube and everything. And I will tell you here, I've learned more about YouTube the last few months because I have been uploading my recordings from the workshop. So again, that shows you we have all of this available to us, but until we need to know it, that we learn it. So again, I haven't really gone down here to more options to look at all of this. You don't need to know that either. If you want to, you can. And, you know, especially with Mike, with everything he's doing with his kids, you know, who knows? He can might become a famous YouTuber out there. So then I can go to next. And then while it's uploading, this one has already been uploaded, I can add an end screen. So what that means, I can promote related content at the end of your video. So if I wanted to promote about some other workshops coming up, I could add that to the end screen, and I just click add, and here's what I could add. I could do elements or import video. Again, just know about the end screen. I'll put discard changes, and then add cards. You will need to know about this add cards. So again, you can promote related content during your video, or you can even ask questions in your video. So if I go to add, so with this video, right here, I can select a type of card to begin. So if I want to select another video, I can put another video in my in this video. If I want to put a message here, I can, or a teaser, you know, a preview, I can do that as well. If not, it's going to put the title of my video there. Can I change it? Yeah, I can go to edit and I can change that. So let me put it back there. Oh, I guess I can't change the title. I can change the title before I add it. So if I wanted to rename that video, I could rename it before I added it here. And so I've got it placed here right at the beginning. Okay, so I can hit save. So then on the video, just like you saw it up there, it'll pop up about that video. I can go, if I go back to add cards, so I've added one card there. If I want to add another card, so if I want to add a playlist, I could add this whole playlist right there of this Google Classroom. If I want to, let me say like this point here at 56 minutes, I want to add a card. Go right there. I can put the playlist there. If I want to put another channel. So I know Mike said he put his channel in the chat. I haven't seen it. I could, you know, have a link here, a card to Mike's channel. And if I can find it real quick. He shared it above. Okay, I can't, or is he sharing it again for me? Okay, thanks, Mike. So then I don't know if it'll let me put the link here. We'll try it out. No, so maybe I need to put his name. I don't know if it's your name on your YouTube channel. Mike, any of those your YouTube channels? Okay, but let's just say, yeah, I don't want to click on one just in case if it's an inappropriate YouTube channel, but you can, as you can see, put their name and you can add their YouTube channel there. So I've got the video cards. Let me go and add a playlist here. So I'll add this playlist there. It shows here, then it's going to be played. It'll show at 56 minutes, 8 seconds, and the frame is 19. Again, if I want to, I can delete it. If I click on that drop-down arrow, it gives me the options that I can put a message or teaser text here as well. And then you know what? They've changed something on here. They used to have questions on cards. So as you can see, they make changes all the time. So it looks like with the card, you can just do a video, playlist, or channel. Maybe they saw that people weren't using it that much. Yeah. If I'm not seeing it, please let me know. Then if I'm ready, I can save my changes. And so on this video, it shows that I've added cards, and then I can go to next. And then with your video, you've got to decide, are you going to make it private, unlisted, or public? Okay, so you can make it unlisted, but for them to watch it, you have to give them the link to it. Well, where do you get the link to your video? You just come over here and you can copy the video link. So whether you're inserting this through Slides, email, Google Sites, you have that option here. I will tell you, if you do make it private, you can't share the link. If you can still share the link, but they won't be able to watch it here. So only you and people you choose can watch your video. So if you put it out there on YouTube and you don't want everyone to watch it, make it unlisted and then share the link with them. If you're okay with everyone watching it, make it public then. Just like with emails, you can schedule emails. You can schedule when you want to make this video public. And then just make sure that before you publish it, you're checking their YouTube's privacy about kids appearing in the video. And then you can see some overall content guidance here. So again, when I'm ready, then I can publish it. Let me just make it unlisted here. And when I publish it, then again, I've got the video link here. I can copy it if I want to. If not, I close it. And then it shows me here that it's unlisted, or if it's public, or if it's private. So I can always go back in and edit that video that I've uploaded. So again, I can go here to details and look at it. If you look right here before I go to details, if it was for a kid video, there would be restrictions here. You can see the date that I uploaded it. I can see the views of the video. I can see then if there's any comments. What I like about comments, though, there's pros and cons to that, but it lets you connect with people throughout the world if they see this, if you made it public. But sometimes there are inappropriate comments, so you can report those to Google. I had to report some, and Google then looked into it and then took it down. You can see, people can put a thumbs up or thumbs down. So again, pros and cons about that, especially with students. Normally with students, with the videos they're in, you wouldn't make them public out there. So these videos would be some that you might be posting that don't have your own students in it. So again, so here I can see my channel content. It shows me how long my video is. And then I can go back to details. I can go to analytics. So analytics, again, if you're sharing this with your administrator or seeing how many students are watching different videos of yours, because this is where you're putting your videos that the kids are watching during remote learning, or even face-to-face, you might be pushing out videos to them. You can see how many views, you can see how many subscribers have watched it, audience retention rate, real-time activity. So again, you have all this data to you if you need it. Again, back here in details, this is where I can go back in. Let's say I added this video and then I want to go back in and add an end screen or add a card. I can go back to cards. I can add cards. This video I haven't added any cards to. That's okay. You don't have to do it at the time you upload it. If I want to, I know Mike talked about editing his videos here. You don't have to know about editing the videos, just know that it's there if you need to. And Mike, if I know you said you've been doing a lot with your videos that you've been taking of your 6-year-old son. Do you want to jump in and talk about anything here with YouTube?
The video editor that they have built in is pretty straightforward, and I can understand there's obviously a learning curve. They do a nice job, like you have on the screen with the icons, where you've got your top track is your video, and then your middle track is your audio, and then you can add your cards and layovers underneath. It even has the add blur function, where if there's a piece where you need to blur somebody out, you could do so. I use Final Cut Pro with my Mac, so a little bit more hands-on, deeper dive into things. But there are a lot of video editing softwares that are like YouTube's does a nice job. I know Camtasia is another one. You got to buy it to get all the features, but it does a wonderful job of screen captures and adding the edits. And I know you've done training on Screencastify. So if you're really looking for screen capture software, YouTube isn't going to be your place to go for the screen capture. But if you do have a screen capture and you don't, and you're not comfortable with other editing softwares, YouTube's video editor will get the job done. And then, of course, with it being YouTube already, it plays well with the delivery through YouTube. When you're playing with it all within the system, it's going to do what you want it to do because you're already where you want it to be.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. You said on the Mac you use Final Cut Pro or Funnel Cut Pro?
Yeah, Macs come with iMovie. You can have iMovie on your phone as well, and that's your, let's say, your consumer level editing software. And it does a lot of heavy lifting. I'm when it comes to tech, I'm one of those that if there's something out there, I kind of want it. And so Final Cut Pro is their professional grade level. It's on par with like Adobe Premiere and other editing softwares. What I like about it is where all the Adobe softwares are a subscription service now, whereas Final Cut Pro is a one price and it's yours, but it does only work on Macs. And so there's a lot of different Hollywood level movies and TV shows that are edited on Final Cut Pro. And that's been my other side project over the pandemic, is learning the software so that I can make these videos.
Okay, perfect. I saw you just put in chat. Here's the link of your video that you created. Awesome. So tell us about this then. You created this with the software you just talked about?
Yeah, I used my camera and lenses to video what's going on, and then with a motion stabilizing gimbal just to kind of keep everything balanced. And then, like I said, he's about to jump out from behind a tree here, and then he's actually not a bad actor. He's a much better actor than my daughter. She likes to stare right at the camera and over dramatize. He does a pretty good job. And then, like I said, he fires his Nerf gun, and then I spliced in a video of an explosion and used some different transitions, and it's just nerdy stuff, I guess.
No, that's great. So with this video then, if I wanted to share this out, I could, click on the link here to share it out. If I want to save it, I could save it to watch later. So I can just go ahead and do the built-in watch later, and I'll save it to my watch later. If you look right down here, I can undo that. But I'll put it in that playlist that YouTube has built in there. And then if I want to, so Mike's got 3 subscribers, so I'll go and subscribe to his channel, because I will tell you with my YouTube channel, it's kind of neat to see people have subscribed. And the subscribing, that will give me notifications of when Mike adds more content to his channel for me to look for. And if I come up here to my notifications to the left of my Google account picture, then I can see any notifications that he has. So right here, I've got some new subscribers to my YouTube channel. I've got a message here on my YouTube channel. So that's one thing I'm still getting used to, checking out comments there and responding to people. another way to collaborate. So that notification's there, whether you've got subscribers and people leave comments, or if you subscribe to channels, you can see when they've added some new material here as well. So, and then right here on Mike's video, we can see he added it June 16th, and he's got 36 views. So we'll try to help get your views up there, Mike, as well. What, as you are, you know, starting to put this content out on YouTube, what are you finding? Is there anything that you like looking at if people put comments out there, or that you do with your channel?
It's very fresh. As you see, 3 subscribers, there's 2 videos, and it's finding that balance. The first video I made was my daughter wanted me to record her riding her bike. She learned how to ride her bike this summer, and so we did some of that. I just put that straight onto Facebook, because I recognized that if you embed the video in Facebook where it can play automatically, if that's your main marketplace in terms of getting viewers, sometimes embedding into Facebook is going to, where they can just play the video automatically, you're going to get more viewers. Whereas if you're sharing a YouTube link, it doesn't play automatically. They then have to click through to YouTube. So it's a trade-off. For me, I mean, like you said, 4 subscribers and 36 views. At this point, I don't really care. I'm, you know, doing it for the fun with the kids, and we've got a couple of videos we're working on in the background. My son is also big into rocks, and we've got some geodes out in the yard that we're in the beginning process of making a space exploration video where my daughter and the neighbor girls are going to be the aliens. So we're working on that, and he got a Thor hammer for his birthday, so he wants to go out and do lightning bolt videos, and we can do that. So for me, this is, you know, the YouTube presence is fine. You know, I'm not trying to grow it into some alternative, you know, stream of income, but if that happens, wonderful. Because it has happened, you know, with others. There's a YouTube channel where the content creator's name is Pony Smasher, and he makes short little horror films. And one of those, I mean, just through his YouTube channel, got enough interest that they made a full-length feature movie out of it called Lights Out, which then turned into him directing the Shazam movie for DC, and he directed the Annabelle movies. And so, I mean, he went from just a YouTube presence of playing around, making videos, you know, with his wife as the actress, to now he's a Hollywood director. You know, so it's kind of crazy, you know, what it can be. And so even from an educational standpoint, whether we're doing videos with kids or just putting the energy into content creation for education purposes, whether it be how-to videos on different programs or whatever, you know, a lot of it comes down to the production value. And if that can manifest itself and those viewers add up, I mean, there's constantly businesses out there trolling YouTube, trying to find who's making what and who's doing what and how good does it look. And then you've got people like Jerry Brooks that just does everything in his car. And so his content is consistent and you know, thematic. And so he's got his own niche, and good for him. He's making it work.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So it's, why do we take time to learn about YouTube? Because this is yet another platform. It gives the students a voice and choice in the content that they're learning, that they can share, you know, what they've learned through a screencast and uploading it to YouTube, and then they can share it out. You can make it public, or, you know, share it out with the other students in the classroom. Because what I found in the classroom, that the kids started to ask me, well, Mrs. Schwartz, who's seeing my work? Or is it just you seeing it? Or is it, you know, who's my audience? When they knew it was other kids or other people than just besides me, they put a little bit more time and effort to it. So if they know that the world is their playground, that they can reach people outside of these 4 walls, the learning that occurs is a lot more than just them sharing it and turning it in for a grade for the teacher.
And I think that's one thing that we, I myself struggle with sometimes, is the world that our students are entering into is not the world we entered into. And so, we kind of stick with our comfort zones and what we were brought up with. But, for these kids, it is viewer counts and subscription counts and streaks and a lot of numbers and data that they're looking at. And, if we can learn to educate on their playing field, I know that a lot of teachers, that I work with struggled with the distance learning back in March.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that had the best success were the ones that were recording their videos and uploading them because they knew the kids would watch them. They're already there. Getting to a Google Meet was tough, but uploading a video for viewing later, it was on their playing field. That's what the kids are already doing.
Yeah, and it's on demand. When they need to know about it, they can go back and look at it. And you can carry that over when we do finally get back face to face with our kids. Do you have to stop the videos? You don't. Again, have it on demand, whether it's the kids watching it or parents watching it to help their child. So you might also be asking, well, I don't have all of the time Mike has, or I don't have the creativity. It's fine for the classroom. You don't need that. If you've got it, great. But I don't find myself a creative person. I've enjoyed listening to Mike talk to learn about all that he's done with his own kids at home and how he can maybe even, carry that over with students and teachers that he's working with. So again, take a deep breath. Don't feel like you have to know all of this stuff. But another thing about the time thing is that, let's say you needed to teach your kids multiplication of fractions. You showed them in a Google Meet, and then kids are still blowing up chat and saying, I still don't understand how to multiply fractions. Well, having that video there that they can watch when they are doing it, because some students might do the work right then and there. Some students may not do it until 10 minutes before it's supposed to be turned in. So then they can refer back to that video. And that video or that screencast that they're creating, they can use. Loom is free. Screencastify, like Mike mentioned, is free. So if you haven't used those before, we'll touch on that, because I think in the challenge, I asked you to create a screencast and then upload it to YouTube. But here with Sharon, it's been fun watching people subscribe to my channel. So if people want to put in chat, if they have a channel out there and they want to see the data and see your subscribers go up, put it in chat, subscribe to it. I'm going to save this to watch later as well that she shared. Sharon, do you want to talk about this video that you shared in chat? Sharon, if you do hear us and want to put it in chat or unmute and talk about this video. If not, you guys can watch it. I won't take time here to play it. But so, talking about a screencast then. So even if you take a screencast, this is an extension. There's a free version and a paid version. I've got it up here to the right of my Omnibox and my extensions, and I can just start recording my screen. Once I start recording my screen, then all of my screencasts go in my Google Drive. And it creates on the back end, when you added Screencastify as an extension, Screencastify created the folder in my Google Drive. And so here I've got different screencasts. I can organize. So if you look, my Screencastify folder is a hot mess. I will tell you that. So if I started to organize by creating new folders here, and then I can just drag and drop my videos here up to that folder. I just do make sure that the folder, do you see that person there? I still have, I made sure that I did share it out so that they would still have access to it. So if you do add folders there, just make sure it's shareable. That when you put it maybe to Google Classroom, that they can have access to that video. And do I have to upload these videos to YouTube? I don't, but I could if I wanted to have it on my YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is just another place that students can access the videos. But for the most part, teachers who are using Google Classroom push out the videos in Google Classroom. But again, it's whatever works for you. Just make sure you convey to your students your organization style and where they go to find things. All right, so video, again, with YouTube, this is a lot, especially if you haven't created content. It does get easier. One other thing here with the YouTube, here you've got settings under the gear, so you can see. I don't know if I've really had to do anything with settings, but just know you've got some settings, some different settings here. So if you want, again, if you want to start your journey on being a famous YouTuber, you might want to check out settings. But for the exam, if you just look at this challenge here on slide 20, you've got some steps here. Again, do you have to use Screencastify? You don't. I just put that in there to give you something to practice with. If you've never recorded yourself before, if you go out to my YouTube channel, you can follow. There is a workshop I did, I think Mike said he saw on Screencastify. You don't have to watch all of it. You can get the nuts and bolts to learn about Screencastify if you want. Again, there's many others out there. I know I practiced and created a video last week using Loom, L-O-O-M, another software out there that lets you take screencasts. So I don't work for any of those companies. I'm not trying to push one extension over the other. With Screencastify, there is a free version and a paid version as well.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
I just had a question. I just downloaded Screencastify onto my extensions, but it's not showing up in my extensions bar on my Chrome. Do you know what to do about that?
You might have to then enable it. If you come over here, yeah, great question, Sarah. Thanks for asking. The three dots to the right of your profile, if you go to settings, I think it is. I could be wrong. We'll see. No, not settings. Well, you know, I think I could get it from there as well. If I go to more tools and then extensions, and I think I could get it from settings though as well, but what you will need to do, you will need to turn it on. So my Screencastify is on up there because it's up here. How do I know that? If I go down here, these are in order, alphabetized. If I go down here to Screencastify, it's turned on right there. Do you see Sir Links-a-Lot extensions not turned on? So it's not up there. So to turn that on, I just clicked it, and then I might have to refresh my screen then to have it up there. So again, it's under the three dots. Go to more tools and extensions. Do you see that on yours, Sarah?
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay, yep, you're welcome. There is also, while we're talking about this, there is an extension called Extensity that I use. And this extension lets me turn the extensions on or off at any time. So if I'm not using Bitmoji right now, I can turn that off and it takes it off up here. So it's right there on the extension bar. But the other way I could do it is the three dots. So again, multiple ways to do the same thing. If I look right here, my Bitmoji extension's turned off right now, but this extension does it for me right from the extension. And sometimes you want to turn the extensions off because a lot of things are running in the background. And if, you know, you've got a slow internet connection or whatever, if you've got some issues, you might want to turn off your extensions. Sometimes if you don't think the extension's working the way it should be, then you might want to remove it and then add it again. Because the thing with extensions, the owner of it can at any time push out updates, and sometimes there's a glitch in the update in the program, and it might need it to, you might have to remove it and then re-add it. Or sometimes shutting down your computer or restarting it too might work out the kinks as well. If you see this extension here, Google used to have an extension called G Suite Training. It was awesome. They've stopped updating it. It's no longer up here. They don't support it. So I'll turn it off. Or I guess it was up there. Oh, it's up there, I guess, right here, but it's not staying updated. So I can just turn it off here. I could even remove it if I wanted to as well. Again, if you don't see the extensions on yours, try your personal account. Most school districts, some school districts allow teachers to add extensions, but majority of the school districts I have found, they don't allow teachers to add extensions, again, for the privacy, you know, to cover the SOPA, the Student Online Privacy Protection Act, that they have to, that your Google admin has to push them out on your Chrome web browser. Okay, how are we doing on time? All right, we've got about an hour left here. I'm going to go ahead and move on. If you want to do the YouTube challenge, go for it right now. If you want to do it later, that's fine as well. And I know some of you have been working on that as we've been talking. That's fine. Let's see, what else do we need to cover here? Okay, so we'll try to see if we can get these 4 other apps covered before you leave us today. And feel free, take a break whenever you need to, whether we were in person or online. It's I guess easier to do while it's online, because but even if we were in person, I would say that as well. The next thing I want you to know about is Google Plus is now called Google Currents. So again, this may or may not be an app that you've used before, but just know about it. I will tell you, Google did take it off of the personal accounts, your personal Google account, and they have just put it on, or kept it on your education account. But if you go up here to a new tab and go to your waffle, you can see, maybe some of you didn't realize this, you should have an app there that looks like this, and it's called Currents. Basically, it's just social, another app that you can connect with people around the world. You can join different communities. So there's a community, a Chromebook EDU community. As you can see, I've got some different communities here. I was even part of a community that I was a student in a classroom for the computer science for high school. But you can create a community here and people can join as well. But as you can see, like this one, there's over 12,000 members of it. This one's over 42,000. How do I know about these communities? You can search this, look for different communities out there. So if, you know, you will get, if I click on this G Suite community here, it's similar, I guess, to, if you want to say like Facebook, it's a feed that people are members of, and you can see another way for people to post and share information. Up here, you can create your community where it's only invitation only. People can't go and search for it to join. It's by them sending out invitations. And then if you get an invitation, then you can click on it to join. I can post to it. So within your community, you've got some choices here. Google had taken this off of the exam as far as a scenario, but I haven't seen anywhere where they put it back once that they renamed it. I think they renamed it to Google Currents. I think this came out here just in June. but just know about it. There's no challenges here with Currents. Has anyone used Google Plus out there before? Oh, Angela, good question. I read your question in chat. She's asking, is Currents something that you would recommend utilizing with students? I see it on a professional level. I haven't used it with students before. And when you ask that, let me go to my student account here. If I can remember the password. All right, don't you love it? So with the Learning Technology Center, I was able to have them create a student account for me. And so I could show the student side of Google Classroom and stuff. So I'm going to the student account and I'm seeing if Currents is available for a student. I don't know if, so it looks like a student could join, but again, I don't know what they've all would have to do. As you can see, I've never looked at it here with the student account. No. So a few of you out there said that you have used when it was called Google Plus. Can you think of if you would use this with your students? So if you don't see Currents on your list, did you see what I did? I went to a new tab and I put in currents.google.com and that brought me to the home page. But yeah, within students, you could do that, or Angela's saying she's wanting a place for students to post safely within a class section. I use Google Classroom Stream for kids to post and help each other. Why I like that is because then they don't have to go out to another app to do that. What's everyone's thoughts on that? I like your questions, Angela. Okay, so Sharon's saying Google Classroom as well. And Melissa just said that too. Sorry, I can't keep up with reading everything in chat here. Yeah, so I would say if you're not familiar with the Google Classroom Stream, I think we'll get into that tomorrow. We can show you on that. But when it was called Google Plus, I never used that with the students. Like Mike said, just use it professionally and know that you can join groups, people can invite you. You can start your own group as well. So again, it's very similar. You click on those 3 lines, you've got a menu there. You can see people, profile. So here's people that I'm following or that's following me. You can have friends, family. Again, it's not, and since they kind of changed it, in the beginning, I use Google Plus to follow things, but sometimes I just get overwhelmed with all of the information out there that I don't have time to keep up with everything. I will tell you with the Google Plus, if I go to my email, I get emails too, and my Google Plus that I follow, do you see I get an email? So I can access it there as well. So I can go to the app or I can just access the information I want here, because in the Google Currents, you can turn on that you receive email notifications when things are added. So again, as you can see, we have all of these apps out there. Do you have to use them all? You don't, but it's just, you use what works, you know, for you. So. Yeah, good question. And if I know you've been in another workshop and I asked you about your name, Jana, and I can't remember if it's pronounced Jana.
You got it perfect. It's Jana.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jana. And it's just know about it. As of right now, what I've heard, it hasn't been on the level 2 exam, but I just wanted to take time to share about it, just to know about it, that Google Plus is now called Google Current. So that's why I don't have a challenge or anything with it. All right. And again, that's why another reason Google likes you guys to learn about certification and become certified, because you know about all of these different apps out there. Do you have to be experts at them? No, you don't, but hopefully that will, you can steer your students or other teachers in that direction, that it could help with giving your students a voice and choice. Because just like today, Mike's talked extensively about what he's been doing with YouTube. He shared his videos with us as well, or his channel. And not all of us would want that, but some kids would. So again, giving some of those kids a choice to do some of those assignments, it will only make their engagement and their lesson so much better. No, Mike, you're fine. It's just like the classroom. You guys don't want to hear from the teacher all the time. You want to hear from other people, and that's why I like having other people share their stories. It's about collaboration. Okay, so Gmail. Again, some of you use Gmail all the time. There's a few advanced things that we're going to talk about. And I say advanced, it's not necessarily advanced, it's just you might not know about them. And if you look here, I don't have a challenge here for Gmail, but know how to do these things that I have referenced here. So we'll first look at under settings, template and vacation responder. So I'll go to my Gmail, and if I go up here to my gear, that'll take me to my settings. And I don't know if you guys have seen, if you've been in settings here, that they changed the look of this maybe the end of June or beginning of July. It looks different. It usually takes you to a different page. Well, it brings up this quick view here that I can change it. My suggestion, whether I'm working with teachers or even students that are using Gmail, take time to look at the settings, play around with it, do one thing at a time and save it, so that if you don't like what you just changed and saved, you can go back in and undo it, or you can, go back to the one you had it at. Sometimes you might forget which one it was. So that's why I say maybe do one thing at a time. But here's just some settings that people change. They just put it here on the main page. One thing to look at, conversation view. Do you see right over here, some of these I've got the numbers by, and that means that's in a conversation view. We've chatted back and forth 14 times, 6 times, 2 times. If you don't like that, you can turn that off. You can turn it off there, or you can go in here and see all settings. So when you go in here to see all settings, they've got these tabs up here that you can go in and change things. What I'm going to concentrate on here is we're going to look at the advanced tab, and then look at vacation responder, just that's under the regular settings. So where is the advanced tab? If you come over here and click on advanced, under advanced, this is where you have control, another place to enable or disable different tools out there in your email. So if you look at, we've got auto advanced, templates, custom keyboard shortcuts, right side chat, and then unread message icon. So again, if you want to see what it does, enable or disable one at a time, save your changes and see what happens. If you don't notice a change, maybe keep it. If you notice a change and you don't like it, change it back. But here with templates, what this does, any message that you are finding yourself, you're typing out over and over again, you can save it as a template. Just like if you use Google Classroom and you put the same comments to the students, how you can post, you can copy comments, you can create a comment list and then copy and and paste them and reuse them for multiple students. Same thing with a template and email. So I've enabled it. And if you are enabling it for the first time, don't forget to come down here to save changes. And then what that will do, if I go to compose an email, it brings up a new email here. And if I want to send this to, I know Angie, who's in the workshop, excuse me, I've got her email address. So if I want to send a message to Angie, so if I accidentally send this to you, you can just delete it. But so I put Angie's name up here. If I want to put a subject, I can. But if I come down here to the 3 dots, so right under here, I've got some other options here that are, the icons, but then I also have the 3 dots, more options. This is where you'll find your templates. If you don't see your templates right now, then that means you haven't enabled it. You'll have to make sure you go back here and enable it. But if you have templates, so what I was finding at the beginning of me saving or recording these workshops is that people needed to access the recordings. So what I did, then I created a template. How do you create a template? Is I can just start typing what I want here, and then I can save the draft as a template if I want. But once I've created the template, let's say this YouTube channel, I think, was it just this morning, someone needed to access a recording. So here's what I put on my template. So it put in the YouTube channel here, and then here's a link that they could subscribe or just access my YouTube channel. If I didn't want some of this in here, so I could delete what I wanted and then type whatever, if I needed to type another message, I could type it, but it saved me time from needing to have to type everything all the time. So then when I'm ready, I can come down here and hit send. I can also schedule send. So if I want to send this out, sometimes with my administrators, they got tons of emails, but I knew every morning he checked his email or she checked her email at 7:30. I would have it send right at 7:29 or 7:32 so that it was at the top of their list, and I knew then that's when they checked their email. So I could schedule the send and have it go out. Here's some suggestions here. If not, I can pick a date and time. So again, that helped me immensely. Sometimes at night, if I wake up and I can't get back to sleep, I might try to go in and answer emails. And instead of hitting send at 2 or 3 in the morning, I can schedule it out again for whatever time I want to send it out to them. Let's say I send this to Angela, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to send that. Right over here, I can undo. If I hit undo, it doesn't send to her. Where can I change that? So again, if I go back to my gear, the settings, and go to see all settings, under general, my undo send, I think the default is 5 seconds. You can have it up to 30 seconds right here. So I'm under the general tab and settings. I can change my undo send. So again, it's worth your time to check out the settings tab to see what all you can manipulate here and to help your life easier using your email, to make your life easier using your email. Another thing here, I know as teachers, we don't take vacations during the school year most of the time, but if for some reason you are going to be gone, or, you might want to just put a message every time an email comes through, you want to respond to it, you can put a vacation responder on. So you can put first day that you're going to be gone to the last day. So if you want this vacation responder, this message to go out every time you get an email throughout the year, you could do that. What some teachers might have it do is have it turned on during the day. And then, when they have time to answer the email, then they'll, answer it on their lunch or prep or after school or before school, whenever they go back and answer it. So if they want to say, thank you for reaching out during the day, my focus is on my students. If you need to reach me right away, you can call the school, or I will answer your email when I no longer have students for the day, whatever it may be. But this vacation responder, know how to turn it on and off and how you can put messages in there. And then you can decide if you only want it to send a response to people in your contacts or to even people at your school. So you have those options as well. Look back at Gmail. Anything on Gmail that you really like, that you have turned on or off, that you want to share? So my suggestion is when you have in all your extra free time, right, take a look at the settings general tab here. Another thing here, filter your emails. One thing I've started to do, because I will tell you, with my emails, I feel like, let's see, whoops. I can't, okay, I couldn't remember if I made changes on my settings or not. Right now I have 466 emails in my inbox. I always wanted to keep that lower, and I run out of time to go and clean it up. So what I do on the back end is I create filters. So let's say, again, I've got emails from Angela here. And so what I can do, I can create a filter every time Angela emails me. So if I put in her email here and I create a filter, what I can do is I can have it skip the inbox if I want, and I can apply a label to it. What that will do then, if I want to create a label with Angela's name, if it's someone that I get frequent emails from and I want it organized and I want to see it organized over here to my left-hand side, I could. Or if I know she's from a particular district that I'm working with or an ROE, whatever it is, I can create the label here. If I don't have the label, I can go up here and put new label, and I'll just put her name for now. And then I hit create. So it will create. So what I'm telling this filter to do is every time she emails me to skip my inbox, and it'll go straight to my label. And then it also lets me know down here, I have 5 matching conversations with her. So then I want those to go in the filter as well, and then create filter. What happens then, if I come over here, I've got a label. Think of a label as a folder. Then with this folder here, when I click on it, here's all of the emails that I have from Angela, and it goes right there. If I have a new email from her, a number 1 will show up there. Now, what if I don't want it to skip the inbox? Can I change that? You sure can. So if you look right here, I've got, as you can see, I've got 4 new emails that I have it skipping the inbox, but it's labeled under LTC. I've got 1 email here, so it does let me know when I've got new emails. But again, I can go in and edit the labels and change how I've got the filters set up. So how do I do that? If I go back to the gear and see all settings, I can go into my filters and block addresses, and I can go in. So the one I just created with Angela, here it's at the bottom, the most recent ones. I can go in and hit, I can delete it if I want. I can go and hit edit, and then I can go back in and change. If I don't want it to skip the inbox, if I still want it to come to my inbox. So I've got different choices here of how I want it to filter. So there's, if you want an email that you get, you can forward it to someone. So earlier in the year, I was out of town and I was helping my son register for the ACT test, and I had to enter the credit card information. So I did that at 10:30 at night. He was in bed. So I just put my email address in there, and every time I got information about the ACT, it just forwarded to his email address right away. So again, you will find out what works for you. over time, it's supposed to be making your life easier. So know about the filtering emails. It's you creating a label and then you choosing. That's one thing with the filtering emails. It took me a while to remember how to do all of that. So once I put an email who it was from, or if I sent emails to someone, and then create filter right here. As you can see, I've got so many other options I can sort it by as well. Anybody have your filters or your labels set up differently?
One thing, hi, when you're using labels, one thing that I really like to do is if I'm sorting it by label, I'll say, don't add it to my inbox. So it skips the inbox, it only goes to the label that I wanted.
Okay, perfect.
And that way, you know, if you say which label it should show up and you don't have it showing up in 2 or 3 different places, otherwise it gets confusing.
Okay.
Another really good thing, under inbox, under all settings or whatever it is under inbox, it gives you a place to have a reading pane. Under reading pane, it says enable reading pane. So I actually have the whole email show up to the right of the list of emails. So I don't have to go into a new window every time.
Okay, perfect. And
That
so
makes
you have
sense.
it the right of the inbox?
Yeah, so if you look under settings, under inbox,
Okay.
one of the places is reading pane. It's just, to me, really handy because I don't have to keep going back and forth between, you know, scroll through emails. My list of emails is in the center, you know, to the left is like, you know, compose, inbox, all of your hangouts and whatnot. In the center would then be the list of emails, and then to the right would be all of, you know, actually reading each email.
Yeah.
Or wherever you want to put it, actually.
Yeah, perfect. And so again, it allows for differentiation. So Lisa, thank you for sharing how you've got yours set up. And you know, there's no right or wrong way. It's, you have all of these options. Sometimes you don't know about all of the options out there until you see someone else's screen. Say, oh, how'd you get your email to look like that? All right. If any other questions or comments or suggestions for Gmail? All right, moving on. And if so, feel free to put it in there. I like Mike's adding some suggestions in there too that he does with Gmail. So he says that he changes the label of some of the, or changes the color of the label. Perfect. And I loved how he says all of his emails he gets from his superintendent, he filters them, marks them as important, labels them, stars them, does everything with them. So perfect. Again, try different ways, see what works for you. I will tell you, in the beginning when I had them skip my inbox, some of these filters or some of these labels that I created filters for, I forgot to look over here to say, oh, I got an email from ROE1. If I knew I was expecting one and it wasn't coming in my inbox, well, I had it skip my inbox and it's over here. So again, you don't have to have it skip your inbox. I've just done that. It saves me a few steps from organizing it into a label later on. And I've just trained myself to make sure, look over here. So for the email. So I'll look at those emails here later. Then let's go to Google My Maps. Again, for some teachers, they haven't used My Maps very much. Sometimes you might hear people say, well, yeah, I use Google Maps all the time. Well, Google Maps and Google My Maps are two separate things. If I jump down here to slide 27, this is Google Maps. So this is what you might use to, you know, get from point A to point B. But Google My Maps it can be collaborative. You can have assignments here on My Maps. If you know about My Maps already, perfect. You can, here on slide 26, even if you don't know about My Maps, I do want you to, when you have time, look at some of these other resources out there that people use them to incorporate it in the classroom. But I'm just gonna real quick show you on My Maps. How do you get to My Maps? Let me go ahead and close some of these tabs. A couple different ways. I usually just go type in My Maps. It usually comes up. Did it start coming up? Okay. I just, yeah, usually go to My Maps. I guess it's google.com, My Maps. Let's see when I click on it. Okay. If it's over here in the waffle, I usually don't go to the waffle. Is it over there in the waffle and I'm just not looking at it? Maybe that's why I don't go to the waffle. I don't have it in my waffle. I've got maps in there, but My Maps, I always just go and access it here from the Omni box. And today what I've done is I have created a map that we're going to collaborate on. And when we collaborate on this map, let me go ahead and click on it. We are going to put places on here that I've got two different things. I have two different maps, or they're called layers on this map, that we're going to put our happy places in on one layer. And then on the other layer, we are going to put our school district. Don't panic, I'll walk you through how to do that here in a minute. But for you to just start creating a new map, up here, here's a plus sign, create a new map, and it tells you right there. You can see all that maps that I have out here. I can see all that I own, the ones that I don't own, some of the maps that are shared with me. No one shared a map with me before, and then here's a recent. So here's recent maps that I have gone to. So let me go back here to not own. So someone put, there's created a My Map, the remote islands of the world. Someone created a map, the 7 wonders of the world, the battles of the Civil War. So what some teachers do with My Maps, in this case, the history teacher had the students create the battles of the Civil War, and then instead of writing a paper or doing a slideshow, they could create this in My Maps. They could even put a description. They could even add pictures if they pulled pictures from the internet. And they can, you know, create the assignment this way. So it's giving them choice. You might not have used this before, but it's just another way, you know, to think outside of the box of how you can incorporate it. Don't panic if you don't know how you could incorporate My Maps in there. The links that I shared with you, and if you just Google it, there is lots of different resources out there that teachers are sharing ideas of how to use My Maps in the classroom. Another thing, like the English teacher might use My Maps to have the kids maybe map the where the character traveled throughout the story, or where the character lived throughout the story, or, you know, a lot of different things you could come up with. Here's Sherman's March to the Sea. Again, I don't own these were others out there that you can find on the internet. Here's the European exploration and discovery. The grapes, the routes of the, is it the grapes of, yeah, the grapes of wrath. Okay. I was going to say that, but I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's something else out there that I don't know about. So again, lots of different ideas out there. Yeah, feel free in chat to put maybe ideas that you're thinking of right now of how you can incorporate it. And then what's great about this, and what you're going to see here in a minute, and maybe some of you have already jumped into it, is that you can make it collaborative. To access that map that I just showed you, I have it here on one of the slides. But, okay, so even from Google Drive, so you can access maps. So if I go here to Google Drive and go to New, I can access the Maps app right here, Google My Maps. So I'm glad I have that picture there, because like I knew there was another way that I accessed the Google My Maps. So if I look here on slide 25, okay, here's another slide. I have it all right here. That goes to show you it's fine not to remember everything. So I put mymaps.google.com, and yeah, I could usually sign in there. What you can do with the map, you can add up to 10 layers. What I did on the map that I'm sharing with you today, I've added 2 layers, and then you can just click on it to add a marker to add where you're at. Again, here it shows how many lines and shapes or places per layer. And then you can even search a place and then add that to the map. You can even measure distances. Here again, I have another link here about My Maps resource. I think. Why is that not? I think my internet is slowing down. So here's Donnie's resources out there, again, to give you some other ideas of how to incorporate it. Oh, he's got here's Number of the Stars, if you've ever read that book. It shows, oh, I've read it, but I can't think of the main character. It shows where the main character, I don't know where it lived or where they traveled during World War II. Highest peaks. So again, it gives you just lots of different ideas here. So what we are going to do then, instead of me showing you everything about My Maps, if you will click on this interactive collaborative map, and let's see if I shared it right. It looks like Jenny's already accessed it. So if you click on this, you can interact. We can see. So Jenny already put something, her happy place, and then she put, if that's correct, if this is Jenny's as well, she's at the Bloomington Junior High School. So how did she do that? Great question. So I didn't go over the directions. I put the directions here on the slide 26. I also put the directions here, very short directions. Anytime you're incorporating maybe different tools or different apps with your students, the more places you put the directions are hopefully better. But what I want you to do for the happy place here is add a marker for wherever a happy place is. It can be throughout the world. If you want, you can add images and information about why that's your happy place. And if you have any images, you could even put in your own images or even pull images from the internet. And then we've got, I want you to add a marker for the school you teach at. Add the school's name. Again, you can add any images there from the internet or that you may have. And then you can even, put down what you teach in the text box. So how do we do that? At any time, so it just shows Jenny's now, but I know some of you all have been adding some points out there. Sometimes you just have to refresh or reload the page and look at how many people's already put down information. So if I come up here, so if I put down, I'll put down, I was going to think, I'll put Champagne down here. So I can type in Champagne here and put that for one of my places in the map. And then if I do, I can add this to the map right from here. Or I can come over here and hit the plus sign and it adds it right there. And then I can even, I can even add images to this. I can even add text boxes. So how do I add images or anything here? So if I look right here, I can edit this. When I edit it, I can put in a description or whatever I want right here. I can hit save. right back from edit, I can also add an image or video here as well. Again, I can pull images or videos from any of my Google, like from YouTube or my Google Drive or my photos, or I can even upload it from my computer. Okay. Then I can hit save. I can also put directions to here. I can change if I click on this paint bucket, I can change the color of my pen. I can even put a popular icon. So if I put down someplace where I could snow ski, I could add the icon of snow skiing. If this is a place I like to go biking, I can change that icon to a person of a bike. If I don't want this anymore, I can hit delete feature and I can delete it as well. So again, I'll hit refresh. So you can see the school districts of where people are from throughout the United States that are joining us today. And then again, at any time, just keep hitting refresh to have it upload. And then another thing with the Google My Maps, so someone created a new layer, My Happy Places Lake Michigan. Maybe they did that by accident, no problem. You can easily delete that and go and add it back up here. As you can see, since this is collaborative, we can see if you make mistakes, or we can see everything you do on here. Again, if someone accidentally added this untitled layer, I can go and delete this layer. I can rename it. So I'll go ahead and delete it. And then right down here, I've got where I can add a base map, or I can change the view. So if I look here, I can change the view of the base map. And then I can zoom out. And I can have one layer shown at a time. So if I don't want the Happy Places layer to be shown right now, if I just want to see the layer of the school district, I can turn that one off right now as well. Then it just shows me, here's where everyone is at. And again, I can zoom out to see where people are joining us from. If I want, to see the Happy Places and turn off the school district, we'll turn on that Happy Place too. Then we can see where people's happy places are. And then if you go into it, so if other people, if you click on different people's happy places, if they added any photos there, we could see that. So if I know I added a photo to mine. So here with mine, I put in pictures of my boys. They really liked, we got a chance to take them to Hawaii a few years ago. And so I added about that. So, even if kids, even if we didn't get to go to Hawaii, we thought this was our happy place, we could, get an image from the internet to put in here as well. So Jenny put in, this picture of the beach looks beautiful. Okay, so then, and again, this is another opportunity to collaborate and then to talk about places, whether it's their happy place or, characters in a book. So again, if you like this tool, take time to look at some of the resources. There's a lot more out there than what I just shared with you, but hopefully that will get you a start. I don't know if people have ideas that they used before or other resources out there. Feel free to share other resources that you use if you want to share with the group. Okay, someone says that they're not allowed, they can't open up the map. My apologies. I don't know. Help me out. Does anybody know why someone can't open up the map? Maybe if your school district has turned it off on the back end, or? Okay, so it may be blocked. So if you can access this from your personal account as well. If you have a personal Google account, I can share the bit.ly link with you again. And maybe even tomorrow you might want to use your personal account as we look at some of the other apps that we're covering. All right, since we're not face-to-face, could we, do you like this? Not like it? Are you seeing, is your mind going a million different directions of how you might be able to incorporate this with teachers and or other students? Okay, so Jonna put in how she uses it. Okay, and Lisa? Oh, she talked about the data table there. Yeah, you can create the data table if you click right here. This is what Lisa's talking about, open the data table. You don't need to know about that. But I mean, to use for the classroom, but for the level 2 exam, you don't. But Lisa, go ahead if you, or I think someone unmuted to go ahead and talk.
Yeah, it's Lisa. Two things with the data table. This is just really cool. Like I did something with forms about a year ago with the ESL kids, and they all entered on a form where they, like, what country they came from, if they had like a city or a village, and a special location in there. And then I was able to integrate all of that into a map without them actually having to be on the map. So that was a really cool thing to do. And then you got to see worldwide where everyone was from. But I was actually trying to find that. And when I'm going into Google Drive in advanced, I can't find a way to search for my maps. I see all the other things, you know, PDFs and documents. I don't see my maps in advanced search. And I'm curious if you know anything about that, or if it's just not searchable.
Yeah, I've never been able to search it in Drive. That's why I always forget that I can go to Drive to access my maps. I always just go to the Omnibox and type in my maps.google.com. And then when I go into that, then that's when I can see all of my maps that I have there. So then I've got that. So it's kind of like it's standalone. It's not integrated with the Google Drive as far as creating a new map it is, but seeing, you know, what all you've got, I haven't found a way you can. So great question, Lisa. I'm glad you brought that up.
Right, because there's also, and I don't remember which it was, there was an add-on that I used, and I can't remember if it was with Sheets or Maps, that actually allowed it to, like, you know, populate immediately, and the kids were just in awe of seeing how far across the globe everyone had come.
Okay. Yeah, if you find that add-on, let me know. I don't know if you can do an add-on here in Maps. Maybe it was probably in Sheets. So yeah, that I've never used an add-on with Sheets that populates within for my Google My Maps. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, great question. Yeah, that's why I don't think they are searchable, because it doesn't save them in Drive. Whenever I go and look at my maps, I go to the app to look at it. But what's confusing though, and that's why I always forget, that you can go to your Drive and create a new map from there though. So my brain can't wrap around how they've got it set up. And that's why I never remember that I can go there. Does that make sense? All right. So that was Google My Maps here. And then I'm just trying to look at time. Was I going to go over maps today? Okay, I'm not going to get probably to Blogger today. We'll see. Google Maps. So what do you need to know about Google Maps? I won't spend a lot of time on this here. It's just know that with any maps that you're searching or you've got, you know, all of this information, that it's just not the map. You've got all of this information that, again, you could use to the students could use Google Maps to learn about a place. Let me just go to a new tab here. And then I know I would have, in free time, when the kids got done with their work, they would, they love searching and looking at different places. The number one place they went for the first time would be searching their house. But then using the Street View guy, if they could use the Street View guy, he doesn't go everywhere, but he does go some places. So then they loved using the Street View to move around. At first I thought, okay guys, are you really done with your homework? Are you just wanting, or your work? Are you just wanting to go to Street View to look that up? But they just thought it was neat that they could see everything. They liked it when the Street View would show different people out there. But again, then I try to teach them that they can find other information over here. So if they're looking up for a place that they're going to visit or study about, this was yet another tool. But just realize that with Google Maps here, you can share links out to the kids. So I can copy this link. I can share this out in Google Classroom. As you can see, I can share it out with Facebook and Twitter. I can even embed a map if I need to. I haven't usually embedded the maps. I just usually would share a link out to them, whether it was on a Google site or Google Classroom. And then also know I've got a Google Maps challenge here. I'll probably let you do that on your own time if you need to. You may not need to do that. And then if you have time to get to that today before we meet tomorrow again, and you're not for sure about something, you can ask me questions. But anything about Google Maps that you use in your classroom, or you really like that feature that you want to share? So another thing here, come up here to those 3 lines, and then that brings up this menu here. So you've got some other, you can see a timeline, your places, you've got a lot of other things. So again, when you've got time and want to play around with it, click on these different things. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is Google Meet. I did do a slide presentation here on Google Meet. If you want to, I'll go ahead and maybe click on that. Hopefully you have that link that it will bring it up for you as well. If I didn't share it right, please someone interrupt me and I'll change the share settings. That's one thing, that's easily done that can make a mistake. You guys are coming in as animals, so I think I shared it correctly then. But that's sometimes what I forget to do, is make sure I share it so that you have access to it. So with the Google Meet, you can come over here to the waffle to open up the Google Meet. I will tell you, if you have Google Classroom and you are video conferencing with the students, the best way to get to Google Meet is going through Google Classroom. Why? The students, that link is up there on the students' Google Classroom, and they can't access the Google Meet unless the teacher is in it. So I'm in Blake's student account, and let's say he wants to, he and some of his friends talk about, let's do a video conference here with Google Meet. Well, if he clicks on that and his classmates click on it, it won't let them in. It doesn't let them in until the teacher is in there. So until I, his teacher, or you, your students' teachers, click on the link from your Google Classroom, will it make it live? So you don't have to remove that. Some teachers think that they need to not make that link visible for the students, but that doesn't matter. They can't access it. Then this is supposed to save you time for you creating the link and then sharing it out with students. Because before Google pushed this out here in April, in March when some of the, teachers and students were meeting on Google Meet, the teacher would have to send them the Meet link maybe 10 minutes before the class, because as soon as they shared that link, students could get in. And they didn't want to share it too early because they didn't want to have to sit there and monitor who was in the Google Meet ahead of time. So it was, and then in case if kids had problems logging on or getting connected, it just became an issue. So we were glad to see when Google pushed that out in April for the teachers to use right away. You can access Google Meet from your calendar, from your Gmail. Again, if you access it from your calendar, it's nice if you're just inviting a few people, whether it's staff or students, and you can add the guest right there. But again, if I'm meeting with my whole class, I would try to use, I would use my Google Classroom Meet link that I had right in the Google Classroom. Here on slide 3, I've got some updates here that you can see that Google Meet has pushed out. And then, and the differences, some of you may be confused about the differences between chat, Hangouts, and Meet. Slide 9, I went ahead and added this. These are updates coming to Google Meet, but here's the trick. Some of this is only being pushed out on the enterprise account. So in Google, most of us have the Google for Education, the Google Apps for Education. That's the free Google. Well, then Google also has the enterprise account, the Google for Education apps, the enterprise edition. That is a paid version. It's $24, I think, per user. And most school districts don't do that. Some smaller school districts did it, use the enterprise edition in the beginning because it helped with the safety and security. The enterprise edition first started off with adding some additional safety guidelines to help the smaller school districts with, you know, if they didn't have a full-time tech person. So they thought that way, then they had to add additional security. So if you go Google it, you can see which ones are coming out on the paid version and the free version. I didn't put this on there because I'm hoping maybe Google will get enough backlash that maybe they will reconsider putting, you know, maybe pushing some of these updates out to the free, to the G Suite apps for education, the free version. So feel free to take a look at that as well, but just know that the updates, people will say, oh, we've got breakout rooms in Google Meet. Well, that might be the paid version. And right now they have pushed out the paid version until they pushed it back until September 30th. So, you know, if you have it right now, if they have pushed it out live right now, if you don't have the enterprise account, some of these features that are only in the enterprise account will go away after September 30th. But if we're in remote learning, who knows, maybe they'll keep them out there. Time will tell. All right. Oh, shoot. Okay. It is 11:58. I do want to stay to the time there. I didn't get to Blogger. I'll do that first thing when we come back then tomorrow. And I'll put Blogger here as well. But feel free tomorrow. I'll try to be on 10 minutes ahead of time if people have questions based off of some of the content that we covered today, or just questions in general or a way to collaborate, please do so. I will stay on for some time if there's more questions, but you're free to go whenever you would like, and hope to see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. So couple questions in chat here. So an enterprise account, where do you look, Sarah? Great question. I don't know where. I'll have to look that up. But again, majority of the people don't have it. Does anybody know? Does anybody out there have the enterprise account and where she could look? If not, we'll Google it here and find out. So yeah, the G Suite Enterprise here. Yeah, I think it's going to take me longer than just a few minutes to figure this out, but yeah, you could email your tech coordinator. Yeah, Sarah, if you can ask your IT department what they've got, that would be great. That would be the easiest. But again, glad that you guys joined us here today. Feel free if you want to unmute and chat and ask the people who's still left in the room any questions you may have, or collaborate, since we're from different areas here from the United States. So. I will stop the recording. So if anybody